everybody? This is Andrew from DeFiancy. All right, guys, we're just going to jump straight into this. This is your daily update. Right now, we're at about 42.90 on the S&P 500. Absolute face ripper overnight, and it started yesterday after the FOMC meeting. Man, a lot to talk about here. So let's just start with the obvious. Jerome Powell has ignited the pump. Mr. Jerome Powell. So what actually happened yesterday during the FOMC meeting? Again, you're going to have people that are going to get really salty about this move. I want to be objective. I want to just, look, let's call it for what it is. You have a big pump right now, and things look bullish. Now, we'll talk a little bit about what's going on under the hood, but it is what it is. Do not fade this pump in terms of, like, revenge shorting it, in my opinion. Accept it. It has happened. Jerome Powell has basically given a signal that they're not going to raise interest rates again. Now, to be honest, I do not think this is actually why the market is going super aggressive right now. I think that was already understood. Again, I personally was saying this for weeks. Even while we were going down last week, I'm like, look, he's not going to raise rates again. And everybody I knew that I felt like was really good at this also thought the same thing. So I think most Wall Street analysts knew that he wasn't going to raise interest rates unless they were kind of dumb, in my opinion. So I think this is what we're telling ourselves because he didn't really say anything profound during that speech, to be honest. But look, we like it. We love when markets go up. Respect the pump. We respect the pump. So I'm looking for a pullback here to be scalping long until this thing is proven to be weak again. Right now, it's looking pretty strong. Look, you have to change your mind. Go with the flow. Like, I'm not here to fight a market. I'm here to join in, right? Okay, so you know the deal. Jerome Powell pausing, markets are reacting. But this is really, okay, and I want to, again, I'm not trying to be bearish here, guys. I just want to be realistic. I want to be different than your, to the moon accounts. We're straight bull market now. Buy everything, all-time high. I don't want to be that guy because that's not how a good trader operates. We got to think about the real psychology of the situation and looking at it more from a positioning standpoint. So I think Kevin Green says it best here. This is really a short squeeze, right? So you have people who are giga bearish, you had open interest that was going up, and while we're going down, we knew hedge funds were mega short. We talked about that. Giga short. And now they're getting ran. So they're having to close their positions. Right? And this is why we call shorts a short, because they're supposed to be short-term position. If you didn't close your short down here, I don't know what you're even doing with your life. Like the S&P 500 doesn't like to go down aggressively. I mean, even in 2022, it did not really go down that aggressively if you actually zoom out week over week. It always had these short covering rallies. I mean, look at this. Rip. I mean, it just did it all the time. So what I'm saying is you cannot hold shorts really comfortably in this market. I just want to throw that out there. But this is a huge recovery. I mean, you have completely eclipsed this last week here, and now you're back in bullish territory. So let's talk about this from, again, we're not going to talk about this from a swing perspective. This is just daily updates. What about today? Well, today, I'm looking at it like this. You are already in probably overbought territory on the short term, like as a day trade perspective. So we're going to wait for some kind of correction, right? I don't believe this is going to keep going straight up into this session. Are we going to end up closing higher? Probably. But we want to wait for some kind of pullback, even if it's to VWAP. So right now we got VWAP here at about 42.80 roughly, 42.75. We're going to wait for a pullback. I'm not chasing this. It might keep going. Cool. But I don't chase pumps. I don't. Okay? This thing has completely eviscerated shorts that got on board anywhere in here. And now I'm waiting for a pullback. But, again, you have to flip bullish if this thing stays above the 200-day moving average, really above 22.50. If it comes back down here, that would be very constructive. Hell, if it comes back down to 42.10, that would be constructive. So, I mean, this thing has a lot of wiggle room in terms of, you kind of have to stay bearish until this thing comes down really lower than here at this point, because when you have a really strong reaction like that, that's kind of a statement, even if it's a short squeeze. And a lot of people will say, look, this is not a momentum shift, it's just a short squeeze. And they don't even realize that almost all market momentum shifts and pivots are really short squeeze, are positioning changes. Like if you go back and look at when we started moving earlier this year in March, there wasn't really any fundamentals on why we started pumping. It was just because you had too many shorts, and that usually, believe it or not, is actually the turning of the market. So yeah, this is actually still really bullish, even though it's a short squeeze. Long the pullback. That's all I gotta say. At least look, unless there's some kind of new information, or if this chart starts to look ugly. I mean, go with the flow is what I'm saying. And I think crypto was brilliantly able to predict this somehow. I mean, it was looking really stupid the other day while equities was looking, shaky. Now it's looking like a genius for basically front running it. So let's talk about crypto. So, bullish. I mean, I don't know what to say. Like the fact that it hasn't already retraced and come back down into this range is showing that Bitcoin is doing something that it used to do in the past. It's doing this slow grind, and it's probably going to expand. This is probably going to be trading higher, guys, unless you get some kind of information to offset this. These slow grinds are not, you don't want to fade these, in my opinion. What you want to fade are the really quick moves that obviously are not, that kind of, that are basically like a house of cards. This is not one. Anytime, if it's doing this kind of price action here, where it's just kind of, I mean, this is dangerous. This is where it basically destroys people that are assuming that it's weak when it's actually not. A great example would be Solana. This is like a great example. It was just kind of slow grinding up, right? And then it just absolutely did a blow off top yesterday. Now, I do believe Solana topped out low time frame, but this is a great example of be careful of shorting. Or I wouldn't short crypto at all right now, but if you're going to short it, don't short it when it's just slowly creeping up. I mean, you're asking to get blown out. And I think ETH right now is probably, even though it's still lagging Bitcoin, this is clearly going to be a better trade than Bitcoin here pretty soon, in my opinion. I think everyone's going to be super bearish on ETH because it's like sucking versus Bitcoin and Solana. But once look, it's already pretty much, or it's in the process of breaking out of this downtrend. And this is going back, almost all year. Once it breaks out of this, I mean, you're in my opinion, you're coming pretty much straight to 2100 pretty quick, and I would expect this to probably even come somewhere closer to 25. I don't know why it would. I mean, if you know anything about crypto, it doesn't mean you have to love Ethereum, but it really is it is crypto in many ways. I mean, to be honest with you, like most of the innovation, most of the engineering talent, most of just everything that we identify as crypto is on Ethereum. Now, I'm a huge Solana fan, and I think that is gonna be up. That's up and coming, and really, really excited about that. But if you think that Bitcoin is gonna, steal all of the attention over the next few years, I mean, you're not paying attention, to be honest. I mean, there's just way more happening on Ethereum than Bitcoin. They're different. I'm not saying that Ethereum is better than Bitcoin, but in terms of like innovation and things to look forward to, Ethereum's going to steal the limelight. Like I think Bitcoin does better in times of war, and I think Ethereum does better in times of peace. And I mean that like on a micro structure or micro time frame. Basically, when it's risk on, ETH is going to outperform Bitcoin. Now you got this spot Bitcoin ETF right now, obviously, that is going to keep Bitcoin performing probably better. But the minute that's approved, you're going to see Bitcoin go down versus ETH, because guess what? The next narrative is going to be, oh, well, now it's time for ETH's ETF, right? So you already can see how this is going to play out. The minute this gets approved, ETH is going to start to perform better. And then I think you see a massive run on this chart here, this Bitcoin or this ETH BTC. But in the short term, I wouldn't be surprised if it broke down below this support. So, be careful if you're trading ETH BTC. It still might not be bottomed out. Okay, let's finish this off with the dollar. We talked about, a few things. So this has totally reversed the bullishness that we talked about yesterday. And we talked about how it could just come up and flip down. There it was. The Fed has basically put the fire out on the dollar. Simple as that. Yields responding. I mean, they're tanking. They look toppy. And that is really, really good for risk assets right now. TLT getting a massive pop this morning. pre-session. You could take that as several different ways, but I think this is mainly reactionary. I mean, obviously this is going to be a reaction to yield easing. Obviously, if this just kept running really hard, that would be a little alarming because that would indicate kind of a flight to safety. But this is good. We actually want to see global collateral because these bonds are used as collateral, and that it affects liquidity. We want to see this go up, okay? But it's something to keep an eye on if it just keeps rage pumping. Gold looks good. Yesterday we had a little bit of a scare with the dollar that was getting pumping really hard. Now it's finding this nice little base, and I'm looking to scalp long again. Same thing with silver, looking nice. I mean, it's basically retraced the entire pump down. Yep, looking along this. To be honest, I think this is going to come back up to the highs here, minimum local highs here. And VIX, let's finish that. We'll finish with VIX. VIX looks done, guys. I mean, I hate to say that and then it pops back up, but it looks finished. So overall bullish environment. I think gamma should be positive now. I'm going to post that in the Discord. But I think overall, I mean, the data probably looks more healthy for upside from here. But again, we know that this is a short squeeze, so don't be surprised if you get a pretty big retrace from the move overnight. But overall, bullish, guys. I mean, look, we're just going to ride the wave. We're going to join in with the momentum. We're not going to fade. We're not going to be a contrarian just to be a contrarian. There's a lot of room to go up if the market wants to do that. So anyway, that's all we got for today, guys. Until next time, happy hunting, friends.
Hey, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel if you'd like more updates like this, and let us know in the comments, what do you think about today's video and DeFiancy update and insight? Also, make sure that you join our Discord, our free community chat, where we discuss things like this, what's going on in real time. Typically, our Discord community is the first to know what's happening, and we would love to see you there. Check the link in the description, and until then, we'll see you in the next DeFiancy Insight video. Bye for now.